get started the recording, that's okay. This is the first session in the series of Learn Mocky sessions that we are willing to do here, and we'll keep doing it. Everyone who is attending this session right now at the moment is actually more than welcome to join this mission of spreading knowledge about Mocky. Don't consider yourself as a participant always. Like as of now, you have already received the invitation to learn Mocky sessions that we have planned, which are around four now, including this one, where Swapnil Mane, Arvind, and Namit are also going to deliver the sessions pretty soon. You have already got the schedule on that. So we would like to have you all participating as and when you can and as and when you want with whatever topic you want, and don't need to be very fancy on that front. छोटा सा एक टॉपिक भी हो सकता है, तो that's pretty well to go. हमेशा एक घंटे का सेशन होगा, नॉट नेसेसरी, हो सकता है वी कैन डू 15 minutes 20 minute सेशन. We'll also be always recording the sessions so that these are handy and available to other Mocky developers across the world. And there won't be any language barrier here. We'll definitely be keeping the local language whenever it is comfortable for the presenter. That means you can do it in Hindi as well. So yeah, that's it. And today is the first session in Learn Mocky series that we are starting. So I would now pass on to Deepak for taking us further on this thing, where we are just going to talk about the journey, like how do you start your journey with Mocky as a developer, from where you should start, what are the developer references, how to subscribe to mailing list, and how do you actually explore the directory structure of Mocky, and how do you set it up, and all those sort of basic things. That's where you start your journey. So, Deepak, thank you so much for showing interest in doing this, and thank you so much from that side. And I would hand over this to you now.
Thank you, Pranay. My name is Deepak Dikshit, and today we are going to cover basically four topics, as Pranay already shared on the invite, that we are going to talk about developer reference, Mocky community guide, how can we participate and contribute to Mocky, mailing list setup, and the direct structure and the control flow. So I am sharing my screen so that we can take a reference from the websites and all those things. Is it visible?
Yes, Deepak, it's visible now.
Thank you. Yeah. Like as we already know about what is Mocky, and so let's start with a brief introduction with Mocky. So as we already came from the background, we already came from the Apache OFB's background that is written by the David E. Jones. So Mocky is also written by the David E. Jones, and it's for the recent era, and or you can say that for the recent technology stack. So like you mentioned it in the introduction, you can see that David mentioned the Apache OFB's reference here as well. Mocky framework is based on decade of experience with the open source framework, now Apache OFB's, and designed and written by the person who founded that project. So Mocky is written by David E. Jones. So I would like to mention one thing, that please don't compare the Apache OFBS with the Mocky framework. You will get confused. Both are the different framework and has its own control flow and directory structure, all sort of thing. So when you learn Mocky, please don't mix it with the Apache OFBS control flow. So like to start, I just want to mention the basic difference between Apache OFBS and Mocky, so that you all are aware and you don't try to mix the both framework. First of all, Mocky uses the var file deployment pattern. So it's the container independent thing. Mocky generate the var file and you can deploy it on any application container like Tomcat, Winstone, and whatever type of container you want to deploy, JT as well, etc. So it's a container independent framework. Again, second thing that Moki generate only one WAR file. So we have only one web app that is for the root application, and one for the back. So we don't have the multiple web apps here. And third point is the basic things that we don't have any controller sort of thing in Moki. So for the screen transition and control flow, the framework uses the different architecture and pattern. So these are the basic three things that differs Moki with OABase in context to developer reference. So we will not talk about the comparison between the Moki and the OABase. So just to start here in Moki framework, uh, we generally have the application artifact, execution context, artifact stack, and there are a number of other things that uh, you can learn while you explore the Moki. So here is the basic architecture diagram of Moki application. Like you have the Moki framework, that is core, and on top of you have the runtime applications like universal data model, universal service layer, business artifact, universal business public library, all sort of thing. And on top of that you build your custom application like mobile, e-commerce, and all sort of thing. The good thing is that Moki is written to keep in mind with the recent web development sort of thing. So you can customize the backend template is uh, as per the your requirement. Like if you want bootstrap, you can use the bootstrap and all sort of things. So you can define your own macro so that the backend applications looks and feel will be as per the your theme. Second thing, Moki written uh, to support the REST and the REST artifact, so that you can define the REST uh, URLs as per your need, like it support the get, put, post, and all sort of thing, right? So we'll review all sort of things in a high level when we move to the uh, control flow and directory structure thing. So for developer reference, here is the website, official website of Moki, www.moki.org. In that document section, you can find all the reference thing. Like here, I open the Moki framework introduction, and it has all topic like run and deploy, how you can run a Moki application on your local machine, and how you can set up IDE setup, and source code management tools, and all sort of things. So you can visit it one by one, as it's a very large framework. So you don't need to go through each and individual thing in a starting. You can start with introduction and run and deploy, and once you are familiar with the application framework, you can easily understand the workflows, features, and authentication, artifact, and all sort of things. So uh, here you can skip the quick start part, because it's generally said that you can download the release and start the using mockqr file. So we can exclude this file. We have to choose the run run from source, build from source. So this is for the developer perspective. If you want to use the source code things and build your own application, then you have to choose the build from source. So here are different Gradle tasks and all sort of things that you can use to build from source, right? So Moki has support for Ant and Gradle build tool, but Gradle is widely used, and Ant is for the limited sort of operation sort of thing. So you can use either Gradle or Ant as per your convenience. Second thing, Moki requires the Elasticsearch for all the search screen things. Earlier, Elasticsearch was an independent runtime component, and it was optional. If you include it, it works. If you exclude it, it won't work. So right now, it's included in the core framework, but still the feature is same. If you configure the Elasticsearch and it's running, then all the search screen will work fine. Those using the Elasticsearch. If you haven't configured it, it won't show any error message, right? But you don't get any result on the search screen. Moki uses a very common pattern interface for all such sort of thing. Like in case of Elastic, I told you that if it's configured, it's worth. If not, it will don't give any error, or it won't break any application flow. So it basically uses the interface pattern, like it defines interface in and out for an service, and if you configured it, you can implement it and as per the requirement, and in if not, you can define the basic implementation for that interface, so that if the particular component is not configured, then your system won't break the workflow. So this is the basic high level thing, and once you refer the run and deploy thing, so you can directly switch to the build from source section and use this commands for the local build development. And like Elasticsearch, we have the Gradle task to download and configure Elastic, so you don't need to do it explicitly. You can simply run the Elastic, yeah, here. Gradle download Elastic and start and stop. So it automatically downloaded in the runtime component and it start. So there is no external setup for the development sort of thing. But in case of production and staging instance, we generally configured Elastic independently, right? So this is the basic reference for the developer, and we have one tutorial section as well. Yes, I will share the links with the group as well, so that you can refer these links directly. Here is we have the Moki quick tutorial. In this, you can build a practice application on the Moki framework, and you can walk through all sort of the workflows and screens and XML and entities sort of thing. So it has a list of good artifacts, so that you can refer it, and how it works. You can directly refer, copy paste these things, so that you can run it on your local machines. Once you are able to run the tutorial, then you can easily understand how it works. Like, so these are the basic reference thing, and to subscribe with the mailing list, we have, where is it? Yeah, for community development, David has added the community infrastructure guide, and in this it says that Moki uses Moki, like all the ticket management tool and the website management that we are referring is deployed on the Moki itself. So it uses its own framework to run their website and all sort of things. So here for comment and discussion, there are multiple channels like Stack Overflow, ticket management system, and the different mailing list for different purposes. So and it's mentioned here, like for which kind of thing you want, and where you can find those artifacts. Like here, Stack Overflow, like as we already know aware that Stack Overflow is a very large developer community, and we can post questions there and discuss and answer over there. So here, if it had largest audience meant for question, so you can't discuss the feature and all sort of thing over Stack Overflow. If you have any questions, then you can post it over here. Highmind support, this is the ticket tracking system like Jira. Moki has its own application called Highmind. So you can go to the website and create your own account and report features, issues, and all sort of things. If you're not sure, you can use the LinkedIn group, largest audience, less active, more general topics like business oriented, all sort of thing. And here are the mailing list. The purpose of mailing list is described by its name. Like if you have any question regarding Moki ecosystem, Here ecosystem means that we saw it on diagram, like framework, core, runtime application, and its app. It's all called the ecosystem. This is business artifact, like this is the service layer sort of thing, like we have the data model thing and the basic CRUD services, or the basic services or that performs operation on the mental data model. So if you want to post question regarding, then you can use the mental BA group. And this is for the applications. So Mocky applications is like, here it's you can see that what is framework, what is artifact, and what is application. So in case of Mocky, yeah, so this is the framework utility. And if you go to business artifact, it says the mental UDM, USL, and simple screen. Here mental is the artifact data model that Mocky uses. UDM stands for universal data model, USL stands for universal service library, and we have one UDPM as well, mental universal service. So that is the combination of the both UDM and the USL. Simple screen is the by default backend screen that supports the mental UDM and USL, like order, product, catalog, code, and all sort of things. And these are the add-ons that the already available for the Mocky, like authorize.net, payment gateway support, pay trace Bentry, Shippo is for the shipping integration, EDI for the EDI data message transfer, Yotpo is for the product review and sort of thing. So these are the existing things that are part of the release, and you can configure as needed. So please feel free to join any of the mailing list as per the requirement. I recommend to join all these three, because as we are exploring and we want to hands on the framework, so we all know about the what is going on and what kind of discussions things over there. Uh, for code management, Mocky is on GitHub. You can browse to the Mocky framework, and it has all the repositories like framework, universal data model, universal service library, simple screen. Pop Commerce is a e-commerce application of Mocky, and Highmind is a project management tool for a ticket tracking system. So here are the list of all the plugins available, like Mocky POI, Mocky runtime directory. We will see what is it when we walk through the structure. Authorize.net, Shippo, SFTP transfer, FOP, Cups, Hazelcast, OrientDB, Yotpo, example entity, Bentry. So it has the n number of already available plugins that we can use for the our application. Right. Here, what I was talking about, the mental universal business process library, that is the that uses the combination of UDM and USLs, all sort of thing. So if you want to use that, yeah, you can do check out. So this is all about the Mocky developer reference and the mailing list sort of thing. So do we have any questions on it, or we can move further?
Yes, Deepak, you can continue. Yeah, if there are any questions, you can address. Yes.
Mhm. So I think like Arvind already told that the books is
Yes,
written in
definitely.
2014, but yes, it's a good
Yes.
reference, because
Yes.
in context of the architecture change, there is
Yes.
nothing changes.
And
So
that has, yeah, sorry to interrupt, and that has
mhm,
always been standing true for OIBIS as well,
right,
based on our experience. Like the originally written documents always gives you the way for the fundamentals of the framework.
right,
So, and those documents are not updated. That is all. There is also a reason behind that, because there is not a very, I would say, there is not a document contributor handy. uh, who is actually actively working on that. So maybe with all these initiatives that we are taking here, there will be more people interested in helping the Moki community with the documentation as well. So we can take up, we can help as a group to the community and see if we can work on certain documents as well to update them.
Right, right, Pranay. Currently, there is discussions going on and all sort of thing regarding the
Yes.
documentation and sort of thing, and it's related the code level document as well the business flow and the user sort of thing. So we can definitely contribute it in as much as possible. Okay. So moving further, now let's move on to the directory structure part. Right. David suggests the ID preferred ID is a IntelliJ, and I think he uses the IntelliJ ID for the development. But you can configure it in the any of the preferred IDE. Like if you want to use Eclipse, then you can use Eclipse as well, right? So here we are referring the Moki framework. So as we already know that it's a framework and the runtime things that both are the is separate part. So let me know what framework contains and what is the runtime application things. Here framework contains the generic utility things like authentication, authorization, transition flow, entity operation, and all sort of generic things that you should use to run your application or your workflow. Like if you want to define an screen, how it converted and executed and render it on the browser. Like if you want to do communication with the database, then how it works, how it create the connections and all sort of things. So all these kind of things are part of the framework. Like it has the very minimum entities at framework level, and those are generally for the user sort of thing and their permission and artifact permission thing. And all apart from all these things, all are the runtime parts. So in case of framework, we have basic entities, and this is like enumeration group, right? Geo and user permission sort of thing. Like in case of Moki, we can define entities as a config file. Sorry, we can define the screen inclusion at config file level as well, and as well as we can define it in the entities model as well. So like if you don't want to redeploy the var file, you can have entry in the entities so that it can be included at the runtime. As we are using the var file generation, so if you do the changes at code level, then you have to build the var file again and deploy it again. So either you can do the changes in the conf file or you can upload the data. So there are both way, but preferred is the config level thing. And if you want to go the multi-tenant and sort of thing, then the screen, then the entity would be preferred. But for our reference, we have to use the XML level config. So we have all the entities that are the related to framework operation. Apart from it, here we have the context, entity, screen, and service level artifact. Those are responsible for the operations that are related to entities, screen flow, and the screen rendering or sort of thing. So framework contains all the utilities regarding those. Apart from this, we have the Moki utility things. In the utility, we have general utility classes like we have Elastic cache management. There are a number of resources sort of thing like URL preparation, external thing, and cache and all the utility methods. Those are generally needed by the framework. So here we have framework and utility. Those are part of core framework. Runtime is not included in the framework. It has its own independent Git repo, and you can configure it as per the your requirement. So, but component structure is a predefined. Like you should have the one base component, config, and template sort of thing. So base component thing is for the screens, default screens, or like we can say the decorator, where we can include our existing or the newly created screens. Tools, this is the backend operation screen from where we can import the data, run the MySQL things, browse the entities, browse the service level, all sort of things. So these things are in the base component. This is the template thing. Like as earlier I told that Mocky provide you to customize your screen macros. So like all the XML tags defined under screen will executed by these macro files. So if you want to override any sort of panel or label, or if you want to change the container rendering style thing, then you can easily override those things in your component and do the changes in the macros file. So these are the, like as name suggests, these macro files for CSV, HTML, text, view, XML, XSLFO. XSLFO is for the PDF sort of thing, and this is the HTML macro libraries that includes all sort of things. So you can override runtime as per your need, and you can do the customization as needed. And if you want to use the default pattern, then we can use as it is. Runtime contains the component, and here in this component section we can have all the custom plugins that are we want to deploy it on Mocky. Like here I set up the Mocky framework and clone the all the component. Mocky has uses the Gradle task to manage all sort of things. So here is it has the one addons.xml file where it has some configuration sort of thing, and it defines the component group. Like framework contains the example Mocky, AWS, and all the component sort of thing. So with the help of Gradle command, you can run the command and it can download all the required component mentioned it here, and you can do the configuration same for your custom sort of thing. You can add your custom add-ons file. You can name it myaddons.xml and override all sort of thing at there. So you don't need to do checkout for individual thing. You can do directly from here and update all sort of thing if you want to use existing framework plugins. So let's move on to the component architecture. So here we are referring the framework architecture, what we have it in the framework level. So now let's move on to the individual component. So the best ways to refer is the example component. Like in this, we have the data. Data is for the, like we load the data for demo data or seed data, and we can define the data as per your requirement. So in Mocky, we can have the data like in XML form, JSON form, and even in CSV form as well. We'll explain these things in later how these data loaded. But for now, data. So we can have three options to define our seed, demo, or initial data in either XML or CSV or JSON. Like name suggests entity, you can define your entities here and view entities like runtime joins. Library, if you want to have the some custom jars and any kind of thing that you want to include, and those are not available in the JCenter or Maven repositories, then you can have it in your library. So while generating the var file, it will be included in your class path and work accordingly. So here screens is for the screen definition. Like it name suggests, we can define our screens forms here. Script, this is for the test cases execution thing. If you want some test cases, then we can define the test cases here. Here service as name represent, you can define the service, and here service represent the package hierarchy, Mocky, example, and example services. The good thing is that we don't have to define the service definition separately and the service implementation separately. So in case of Moki, we have the single file where we can define our own service and its implementation. Like here, like it says create example, and it define its in parameter and what will be out, and uh, it it has the entity auto, so we don't need to provide its implementation. This is for just an example. In case of entity auto, we don't need the service sort of thing. Framework has already support that directly call the entity auto thing. So this is for example. You can, yes, like here you can see the produce example message. It has the in parameter definition. This is the out parameter definition, and it has its action. So you can define in parameter out and your service implementation at single place. Like SRC, this is for the your class file things. Moki heavily uses the Groovy files for its implementation. Like it's provide the DSL thing, and you can do the changes at runtime, and you don't need to compile things. So you can either use your Java or the XML or Groovy. So both three patterns are supported. You can use as per your convenience. uh, in case of uh, Groovy file, there are some framework level Groovy file. If you do the changes on those files, then you need to compile it again because it belongs to framework utility. But for the service and all the utility sort of thing that you are including it in your SRC folder, then you can do it. You don't need to recompile the system. Right, here is the template. Templates as all it's already stands for its name. Like you can define your own template here. Like here it has the example that override the default macro view.ftl template and override the single macro like container. So apart from container, all macros are from the default macro library, and it has its own container definition and it has its own implementation. So this is the example how you can override the your default macro library. So this is
Deepak,
the
sorry to interrupt. Yeah, there are a couple of questions. If you can look
yeah,
at.
sure.
There is a question from Suraj regarding the Docker folder, which is there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, does Moki support Docker out of the box? And then there is a question from Amit regarding the languages that we can use for writing services. What are the different languages we can use?
Yes. So to answer Suraj's question, yes, Moki has support for the out of the box Docker.
Mhm.
It has the Docker support for the default implementation thing. You can customize is as per your custom need. Like here, it has the Docker certificate, Elastic, Kibana, all sort of thing. Then you will have the YML file that this is for the MySQL YAML file. You can configure it here, and it will be uses the CI/CD sort of thing to run the Docker. So if you go to the Moki website, it has the whole page regarding the Docker setup, how you can use the Docker, and it has its own compose up and compose down file from where we can start and execute the Docker file. So yes, Moki support the Docker from the scratch, and it helps you while deploying your application on the dev server or the production server to use the Docker utilities. So this is the by default with the NGX sort of thing. Like if you want to use the Apache HTTPD, then you can override these thing or have your own compose file with respect to your defined tools. So Moki framework supports this. Okay, so like Amit's question, what are the languages are available to write services? As I already told you, you can write your services in Groovy, XML, and the Java. Both languages are supported by the Moki framework. Let me open an service implementation. Yes. Mhm. Yeah, like just we are referring a service implementation in HiveMind. So in this service definition, you have to define services in the XML tag. Like we have, it's implement the receive data feed service, and it has its implementation. Like here, it uses the Groovy DSL. So you can have script, see data, and have your custom script like here. For the tags execution context and EC, what are those things? Then you have to go through the artifact things, where it's mentioned that how you can use the execution context and how can you run this. So this is the basic example that uses the Groovy DSL for the service implementation. Again, you can define your Groovy services and can have your path here as well, that represent that you have the Groovy file that will be called by this service, right? So this is the XML implementation, you can say. And I will share the reference where it represent that you can have the service name and its location and in type, where it represent that this service will be in the that .groovy file. So hope Amit, I think I answered your question. Amit. Okay, cool. Thank you. So, this is the directory structure, and the important thing in these two file, component and the config file. I want to mention one more thing here. Mocky uses the environment file for the development and the production sort of thing. So you can define your custom configuration for development as well as for entity production. So for this, you have the runtime conf thing. Here you can see the Mocky dev conf and the Mocky production conf. So here you can do the changes for the production things, and here you can do the changes for the your development environment. And it has the Mocky default config as well, that has all the default settings for the entity related operations or the tools or the cache or sort of thing. So you can override any of these settings in your own dev or production instance, and if not, it will be used from here, and it's the default settings here. So like if you want to configure entity thing, then it has the entity facet, and for all sort of thing like MySQL and DB2, DB2I, all sort of thing here. So if you want to refer any database configuration thing, then you can check the Mocky default conf, and you can configure your dev and production configuration in the Mocky dev.conf or the production.conf. Yeah. So let's move back to the directory structure. Here we have the Mocky conf.xml file and the component.xml file. So these two files are the basic need to define a component. In component.xml file, we can define the our name. Like here we have the name component. So like when we use the uh, component colon slash slash example, this will be referred to this component. So here we can define the named component, and apart from there are some dependency things, so we can define that as well here. So like yeah, like in case of HiveMind, we have the dependency of this component on following four other component like Mocky FOP, UDM, USL, and Simple SQL. So like suppose if you are if you do the build of HiveMind component and you don't have following dependent component, then Mocky downloaded this from the add-on configuration thing that we already checked here. So it matches the name from the component name and its branch, and it downloaded it from the given configuration. So it's also good to maintain the dependency sort of thing. Like it clearly says that you are using the Moki, sorry, HiveMind with this simple screen version 2.12, so you don't have to manage the external build nodes or the reference thing to manage the dependency of all sort of things. So here you can define their dependency for the reference and for the build purposes as well. Here is the Moki config file. Here you can define the config of the particular component. Like here we defined that we have the Moki component and we have its item called example that will be part of this app screen. So let me briefly introduce about this screen facet. So like earlier I told that we have only one root screen and the one screen for backend. So we have the backend screen. For backend we have the apps.xml. Here this is the screen implementation, like what it do. It uses the render mode, HTML and container and all sort of things. So what it says that example screen will include in f.xml. So like if we VFs is stand for view, like view implementation. We generally use this like here. Here we are able to view the example because it's mentioned it here. Like example will be part of apps.xml, and we are here in the apps.xml screen. And what it render here, its implementation is in the F file. You don't need to worry about this. This is the, we use these things as it is. So right now you don't have to worry about it, but in future you can figure out how it's rendered and how you can include your custom screens in the app.xml file. So just for reference, we have two things. One is the webroot.xml.
There is this message from Namit, Deepak, if you can take a look. He's saying that it looks like the component is different from the web app, like it works in OIBS. Like, so do we have the similarity here?
No, here, like as already I already told that we don't have multiple web app here. We have only two web app. One is for root application and one is for backend application. And for these sort of thing, we have the apps.xml file, and the other one that I am referring here is the webroot.xml file. Like this is the example. Here it says that this static thing will be for the root level sort of thing, that will be like slash, and here hm and hm admin will be at the backend screens. So this is not, like as I already told, please don't compare it with the OFBs. You will get confused because in OFBs we have the web app level architecture and all sort of thing, and in Moki it generates the WAL file and deployed in the Tomcat. So we have the different architecture here. Yes. So here component is not the web app because we don't have the multiple web app. In case of multiple web app, there is a issue while switching the context from one web app to another web app in context to authorization and authentication as well, and for the runtime deployment sort of thing as well. So that's why it uses the default pattern, like one is for root, one is for backend, and it configured accordingly. If you want to have the multiple mount point, this is called the you can say mount point, and it's configured it in at the root level. So where is the example? Yes. So like here, what it says that we have the one subscreen item, that is example, and title will be the example component. This is the index for the sorting sort of thing. And when we refer this example, it will move us to the example app.xml file. So here, if I click on the example, it will land us to the find example page. We'll see how it works. So Here, once we click example, it will open the example app.xml file. Yeah. Here it will open the example entity file, and it has the transition. Like to control flow, here we have the transition things like example entity. When we click the example entity, it will execute these things and return the JSON response. So the default response type will be none, and it will send the JSON response. So once we hit the example, it landed up to the example and find example screen. There must be some default. Uh, Edit example. Yeah. Once we click the edit example, it rendered us to the examples find screen, because we have the example.xml file here, and it says its default item is the find example. Here for controller flow, we have the pattern like you define the XML file and its transition over there, and we have the same folder name and their subdirectory structure. Like here, what it execute, if I hit the example, it goes it loaded to the example.xml file and check what is the default item. It's called the find example. It go to the example folder and check for the find example.xml file, and it loaded the find example.xml file. Here we define again the control flow, and here the transitions, and this is the widget that load the find example.xml file. So this transition is for this stream file. Like if I go the edit example, so here we have the link for edit example. Once I click the edit example, it check for this transition, and it says that edit example that go to one level up and the edit example folder. So it will move one level up, and it moves to the edit example.xml file, and you will open that example. Here you can have the parameter and other transition. In this example, we have the update transition. Like if we call the update transition, what it do, it will call the service update, and default response is the dot. That means it will be on the same page. It doesn't move to the another page, or it does not redirect your application or your control flow to the other. So like here, you can say that you may have the redundant entries. Like if you want to create order from the X and Y screen, then you have to define the transition in on that both screens. So the structure is working like that because we don't have the multiple web apps, so we can't have the multiple controller.xml file that represent that point to that particular web app. So here flows moves around the directory structure and this pattern. So like here we have example wiki dot folder, so that we have the example cwiki dot ftl file, survey, find survey. Here we have like edit survey transition, then we have the edit survey screen. So this is working like that. So either you can have the if you want the nested directory movement, then you can have the nested folder. Like here we have the example items.xml file, and this file has the two one is JS and one is view file. So if you want the nested directory movement, then you can have the same XML file along with its directory name. And if you don't want the nested traversing, then all the implementation will be in your XML file. So this is the basic thing. So you can refer if you work on the tutorial sort of thing, then you can easily understand the screen flow and transition, how it works. So simply edit example. We have one question. Very good question. Yes, Namit, for the execution contest thing, you can refer the one. We have one tools and configuration thing. In this, it says what it how you can use execution context. Here, execution context means you can use the service library. You can call the entity operation. You can have the Elasticsearch. They all called the facade here. So like if you want to access the parameter from the web, then you can use the web facade. And execution context is a collection of all the facade, like for the Elasticsearch, for the Camel, for the web facade, for the database operation, for the service call. All sort of things are part of the execution context, and they all have their own implementation of factory pattern. If mm, yeah. So, like Swapnil, here, like we have the tools implementation like factory, H2 server. This is the default database. If you are using the default, then you don't need to configure it. Jackrabbit, Sustek, like same. We have the Elastic tool factory. Like so, these are part of the execution context. So, if we consider the OFBs sort of thing, so like we get the delegator from request, or the for service implementation, we can have all these thing in the dispatcher context thing. So in Mocky, we can say that we have the execution context that has all the facade reference. You can get your required facade and use it accordingly. Yeah, like here screen facade, that is for the screen rendering thing. Service facade for service implementation thing. Web facade for the REST API and parameter call, entity facade for all the database operations. Like if you want to do the find operation, like this. Uh, Here we are referring that EC dot service that will return this service facade object, and then you can call this sync method of that object. So we can have the service as well as here uh, like this ec dot entity that will return the entity facade, or you can say the entity tool factory, and you can use that method. You can use your required method on that. So here execution context is the master, and you can have all the facade loaded on that execution context, and that will be available with their key name, here. Right, execution context, yes. Here we have cache, logger, resource, service facade, transition facade, and this is the entity facade IMPL implementation. Like as we already talked about, if we do the ec dot entity, then it will refer to this entity facade. Right. So these all the tool factories or the facade that will be available for the execution context, and it has its implementation. You can figure out how it's loaded while it while it execute the execution context. Mhm. So, Namit, for this, you can refer the execution context implementation and its interface and implementation to understand it more clearly. Right here, we have all those the default facet thing that we use in the application, like user facet for the logged in user thing, message facet implementation for the error message passing or success message for passing, artifact execution that is for the permission layer check for particular artifact. Here artifact mean entity, rest file, service file, whatever. And L10 is for the internationalization sort of thing. So today I covered all sort of things. To understand control flow more efficiently, you can go to the tutorial sort of thing, and like it tutorial, and once you do this tutorial, you can easily understand how we can define the screens and how it works. Mhm.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Deepak. It was a very helpful session
Mhm.
that will for sure help the beginners to start their journey with Moki framework. So we can see and wait for some questions. If you have any, you can put up on the chat, and Deepak will answer those one by one. If you have any, let's wait for a couple of minutes for any questions. If you have, please put it on chat. All the members,
Sure.
all the participants. Sorry. So we got a question from Gurveen.
Yes, Gurvin, good questions. If we define a new entity, Moki has a pattern to load entity at runtime. Like if you define a new entity and it has referenced in some data file or reference in the some seed data sort of thing, then it will be loaded when data is loaded. Else, it will be loaded at runtime. But you can override this setting by the entity configuration sort of thing, where we have one flag that load entity at start. If this flag is true, this will create all the empty table at the startup, then it will be available at startup sort of. So by default, tables are loaded at runtime. Like an example, you create an ABC table, and you don't have the data for this, or you haven't loaded this data, so this table will not be created by default. Once you execute the operation from web to create data on this entity, then it will check if entity exists, it will do the operation. If not, it will create the entity, its reverse mapping, and do the operation.
Okay. So can we call it a little more flexibility being offered by Moki, where you are actually you have the option to put it that way. If you are using something, then only the
Uh,
entity is going to be.
yes,
You
yes,
can configure it that way depending on
yeah,
context and the requirement from whatever development environment you have and the application you are building.
yes, exactly.
Perfect.
Okay, thanks, sir. Actually, I was noticing this behavior that it will not create all the tables, right?
Yes, yes. So if you want to more explore about it, you can yeah, refer the Mocky default conf.xml file, and there we have the one setting load all. But exact, I don't have the name, but we have setting to load all tables on startup. Then you can true that setting, then the all table will be created at the start of the Mocky.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Mhm. If you got a time, then please review the out of the box entity definition. The entity definition and their relationship definition is quite interesting in case of Mocky. You can define the alias and get the related data using the alias, and this alias will be used while the indexing. So Moki has the framework level support to run the indexing at the time of CRUD operation. So you don't need to have the all the ECAs and the CICA for the entity indexing thing. So there are framework level configurations available based on the data document configuration and data feed sort of. So you can refer that as well for the indexing thing, and how the Elastic indexes automatically works on the data operation update and sort of thing. So data documents and data feed index. These are the basic references for that indexing.
So, well, Deepak, I was thinking throughout the session, and I thought to ask this, like,
Mm-hmm.
was OIBIS not efficient enough to do certain things that we needed to have one more framework called Moki, do some same do same things in new ways, like what sort of efficiency being offered by Moki as compared to OIBIS, or how sort of what sort of operational efficiency Moki offers. Will it be developer friendly? If a developer starts, if the Moki is being chosen, then OIBIS is also there. Different
Yeah.
technology.
Good question, Pranay. Actually, OFBS is written in around 97 and sort of thing. So it's a quite it returns at the thought process at that time. Again, it's still ahead of framework, but there are some limitations that we can't perform on that OFBS, like the WAR file deployment. One simple thing is the WAR file deployment. OFBS uses the embedded Tomcat system to deploy, and in the current era, the DevOps and all sort of thing want their flexibility to deploy application on their preferred application architecture, application container. So OFB is lacking on that part, and apart from there, the REST sort of thing and the GraphQL sort of thing, OFBs has OFBs has plugins that we are building on the to support the REST and GraphQL thing, but Moki has their ability in the framework level at the start. So there are sort of thing that Moki is for the current tools and technologies sort of thing, like in case of service implementation things, or the data definition, or the web app sort of thing. So Moki has the different architecture, so both frameworks are fine at their end, but for developer friendly, DevOps friendly, and all sort of thing, that Moki is the preferable platform for the next 10 to 15 or the n number of years, so that it can easily configured as per the current need.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely that answers my question pretty much. And I would also like to add in here, like, both of the frameworks are growing by the pace which is needed as of now. As you already said, things are being implemented in OIBIS as well, so that framework is also moving with a good speed to cope up with the current market needs and the technology needs. So OIBIS is also evolving, and Moki is also evolving. So it depends on the requirements, the technology requirements that you have from a project, and you have to take a wise call on that front, right? Which framework is going to help you out with that
Right.
application. Yeah.
Mhm.
So you have got one more. We have got one more question from Namit. He's saying,
Yeah, so Namit, it's not uses Tomcat by default. It's uses the Winstone container. It's a lightweight container, and the default H2 database, it uses the Winstone container. And for development, it runs on the 8080 configuration. If you want to run application on HTTPS, then you have to use the self-signed certificate and the configuration to enable it on local. But in case of production, with the help of configuration, we can run it on the HTTPS. So yes, actually Winstone is the container, and I think David mentioned it on the document as well. On site, it's reference as well that it uses the Winstone lightweight container for the development.
Mhm. Well, it looks like there are no further questions.
Mhm.
So we can end it here. I would like to thank you, Deepak, for such a informational session on Moki. Definitely, it will help all of us. And just for information for all the participants, the recording of this session will also be made available on YouTube. There is a channel we have created as a developer group. The name of the YouTube channel is Moki Enthusiasts. You can subscribe to that particular channel. Whenever we do such webinars, we'll be recording them and we'll provide the recordings. We'll upload the recordings on YouTube channel that I just mentioned. Um, we'll give you the URL to the channel as well. Definitely, you can go ahead and search it there on YouTube as well. So yeah, thank you so much, Deepak, and all the participants for this wonderful session today. Uh, you all please have a happy weekend. We'll soon be planning next session, and you'll be informed accordingly.
Thank you all. Thank you, Pranay.
Thank you,
Mhm.
everyone. Thank you, Deepak.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Take care.